In 1997, scientists recorded a sound so powerful it crossed the entire Pacific Ocean. It was louder than the largest animal that has ever lived. And whatever made it was never seen. For years, scientists feared it wasn't ice, or machines, or earthquakes. They called it the Bloop, and it wasn't the only sound the ocean didn't want us to hear. The silence is a lie. The ocean covers more than 70% of our planet, yet humans have explored less than 5% of it. We map Mars better than we map our own seafloor. For centuries, sailors believed the deep ocean was silent. No wind, no waves, no life. That belief was wrong. In the mid-20th century, during the Cold War, something changed. World powers became obsessed with one question: how do you hear an enemy you can't see? Governments laid thousands of miles of underwater microphones across the ocean floor. These devices weren't built to study whales. They were built to detect nuclear submarines. This secret system was called SOSUS. But once the Cold War ended, scientists were allowed to listen, and what they heard shocked them. The ocean is loud. The deep ocean isn't quiet. It's filled with cracking ice, moving tectonic plates, volcanic eruptions, unknown biological sounds. Some of these noises were familiar, others were not. Scientists began cataloging strange signals: moans, screeches, pulses, metallic hums. Most had no immediate explanation. Then, in 1997, one sound changed everything. The SOFAR Channel, the ocean's sound highway. To understand how a single sound could travel thousands of miles, we need to understand the ocean itself. The ocean has layers, each layer shaped by temperature, pressure, and salinity. Sound behaves differently in each layer. In the 1940s, scientists made a discovery that changed oceanography forever. They found a hidden layer called the SOFAR Channel, Sound Fixing and Ranging Channel. What makes SOFAR special? In this layer, sound bends inward instead of escaping. Waves bounce endlessly. Energy barely fades. It acts like a tunnel, a sound highway. This means a whale call can travel across oceans. An iceberg cracking in Antarctica can be heard near Chile. A single noise can be detected thousands of miles away. The SOFAR Channel connects the planet's oceans like invisible wires. And once scientists understood this, they realized something terrifying. If a sound is heard everywhere, then whatever made it must have released enormous energy. Summer 1997. In the Southern Ocean, near Antarctica, multiple sensors triggered at once. The sound was not local. It was global. The bloop, monster, myth, and misunderstanding. The signal was detected by sensors over 3,000 miles apart. Scientists named it the bloop. Not officially, unofficially, because no one knew what else to call it. What did it sound like? At normal speed, nearly 1 minute long, ultra-low frequency, rising pitch. the structure mattered. Why scientists panicked? The frequency pattern looked biological. It matched how whales communicate. But there was a problem. The blue whale, largest animal to ever exist, loudest biological sound on Earth. The bloop was several times louder. If it was alive, it would need to be larger than any known animal, more powerful than anything ever recorded. The internet explodes. Rumors spread fast. Theory 1. Megalodon. A surviving prehistoric shark. Problem. Even a 60-foot predator couldn't generate that energy. Theory 2. Unknown Leviathan. Something living in the abyss. Problem. No feeding patterns, no sightings, no remains. Theory 3. Cthulhu. The sound originated near the fictional coordinates of R'lyeh. Not science. But fear doesn't care about logic. Years of silence. From 1997 to 2004, no explanation. No repeat event. Just speculation. Then, scientists noticed something strange. The bloop's acoustic fingerprint matched another sound, one they had heard before. Icequakes. When massive Antarctic icebergs crack, collapse, scrape the seafloor, they release catastrophic energy. Because of the SOFAR Channel, that cracking ice sounded alive. In 2005, NOAA confirmed it. The bloop was ice, not a monster. But here's the problem. Ice doesn't explain why it sounded biological, why it rose in pitch, why it matched whale-like frequencies. The answer was accepted, but doubt remained. Narrator quietly. And if this sound fooled the best scientists on Earth, how many others still haven't been understood?
If the ocean can hide sounds this powerful, imagine what else hasn't been found yet. Subscribe to this channel to stay with us as we uncover the mysteries science still can't fully explain. Because some discoveries only make sense when you hear them together.
Just when scientists thought the ocean had finished surprising them, it spoke again. 1999, 2 years after the bloop, NOAA's hydrophone network detected another anomaly. This one was different, shorter, cleaner, and somehow more unsettling. The sound was named Julia, not because it was friendly, but because it sounded almost human. What did Julia sound like? A deep, echoing moan, lasting about 15 seconds, but those seconds carried across the entire equatorial Pacific Ocean. Unlike the bloop, Julia didn't rise or fall dramatically. It was stable, controlled, almost deliberate. Why Julia terrified researchers? Scientists immediately noticed something strange. This sound didn't resemble ice cracking, volcanic rumbling, earthquakes, known marine animals. It sounded solid, as if something large had moved and the ocean had responded. The shadow rumor. Soon after Julia was recorded, an unverified rumor began spreading. It claimed that satellites had captured images of a massive dark shape beneath the ice near the sound's origin. No official images were released. NASA denied it. NOAA declined to comment. But the timing was perfect. Too perfect. Fear filled the gaps where data was missing. Internet speculation goes nuclear. Forums exploded with theories. A submerged structure collapsing, a moving underwater landmass, a massive unknown organism. Some claimed Julia wasn't just a sound, but a reaction. The scientific explanation. Eventually, researchers identified the most likely source, a large Antarctic iceberg, not cracking, not breaking, but running aground. What does running aground mean? As icebergs drift, their massive underwater keels can drag across the seafloor, scrape rock, and generate resonant vibrations. Imagine a skyscraper being dragged across stone. Now, place it underwater. That friction creates a deep, hollow acoustic signature. Julia. Why doubt still lingers? Even with this explanation, scientists admitted something troubling. Julia's sound was too smooth, too resonant, too clean. Most ice noises are chaotic. Julia wasn't. Sometimes, science gives us answers, but sometimes it only gives us permission to stop asking. The upsweep, a sound that returns. Most mysterious ocean sounds happen once and are never heard again, but not upsweep. First detected 1991. 6 years before the Bloop, scientists noticed a strange signal. It wasn't explosive. It wasn't sudden. It was persistent. Upsweep sounded like a distant siren, a ghostly howl, a rising mechanical moan. What made Upsweep different? Upsweep returned every year, always around spring, autumn, same region, same pattern, same pitch rise. This terrified scientists more than a one-time anomaly, because repetition means process. Locating the source. Using triangulation, researchers narrowed it down. A remote stretch of ocean between New Zealand and South America. Nothing there. No shipping lanes, no whale migrations, no military activity, just empty ocean. Years of confusion. For a decade, Upsweep defied explanation. It didn't behave like ice, biology, earthquakes, and yet it kept coming back. The breakthrough. Eventually, oceanographers made a connection. Upsweep's source overlapped with mid-ocean ridges, volcanic activity, tectonic stress zones. The leading theory: hot magma, cold seawater, violent interaction. When lava meets ocean water, steam explosions occur, rock fractures, pressure waves propagate. Upsweep may be the soundtrack of the Earth itself reshaping, but the mystery isn't over. Here's the problem.
Volcanic activity shouldn't be seasonal, and yet, Upsweep is. No one can explain why the Earth only sings this song twice a year.
We don't chase rumors here. We follow data and where it leads. If you want more true ocean mysteries, unexplained signals, and scientific discoveries that still raise questions, subscribe. The deep ocean doesn't repeat itself, but this series will. There are some mysteries that inspire scientists, but there are some that terrify governments. During the height of the Cold War, submarine crews reported a strange noise. It sounded like play bioduck sound, a rhythmic quack, repeated, precise. Navies called it the bioduck because no one wanted to admit what it really sounded like. The military was alarmed. The noise was rhythmic, repeated in patterns, appeared suddenly, disappeared without warning. To military analysts, it sounded like technology. Rumors spread: Soviet experimental submarines, new sonar weapons, underwater surveillance devices. Decades of fear. For nearly 50 years, no one solved it. The sound appeared only in the Southern Ocean, near Antarctica, a region already difficult to study. The answer came by accident. In 2014, scientists tagged an Antarctic minke whale. They weren't looking for mysteries. They were tracking feeding behavior. Then, the tag recorded something familiar: the bioduck. The truth: the whale emitted the sound before diving in rhythmic pulses, possibly to communicate or echolocate. One whale, one sound, 50 decades of fear. The lesson: not all monsters are myths. Some are misunderstood. The ocean doesn't just hide creatures, it hides explanations. Most ocean mysteries happened decades ago, when technology was limited. But this one happened recently, and we still don't have an answer. Summer 2016, Nunavut, Canada. In 2016, Inuit hunters in the Canadian Arctic began hearing something strange. Not underwater, but through the ice itself. A metallic ping, a humming vibration, sometimes rhythmic, sometimes constant. What made the Arctic ping different? This wasn't picked up by scientists first. It was heard by people who live on the ocean. Hunters who had spent their entire lives on the ice. They said they had never heard anything like it before. The effects were immediate. Marine life disappeared. Seals vanished. Whales fled the region. Fish populations collapsed locally. Hunters reported that animals reacted in fear, as if something had entered their territory. The sound itself. Witnesses described it as a constant metallic hum, like a sonar pulse, or machinery operating beneath the ice. Some said it was loud enough to vibrate sleds, travel miles through solid ice. Government intervention. When reports reached Canadian authorities, the response was swift. The Canadian Armed Forces launched an investigation. A military patrol aircraft was dispatched. Sonar sweeps were conducted. Hydrophones were deployed. The results? Nothing. No ships, no submarines, no drilling operations, no gas leaks, no seismic events. Theories begin to surface. Speculation exploded. Possible explanations included secret foreign submarines, experimental sonar weapons, mining operations, underwater construction, natural geological resonance. But every theory hit the same wall. No physical evidence, no confirmed source. The ping stops, then returns. In some years, the sound faded. Then it came back, unpredictably, always in the same region. Low, unsettling. The Arctic ping didn't behave like nature, and it didn't behave like technology. Why scientists are uneasy? Modern hydrophones are incredibly sensitive. Satellites track almost everything, and yet, this sound left no footprint, no acoustic trail, no movement pattern, no identifiable frequency signature. The official status. To this day, the Arctic ping remains unexplained, one of the few modern ocean sounds without a confirmed source. In an age where we map planets billions of miles away, there are still sounds beneath our feet we cannot name.
We like to believe we understand our planet, but the truth is, we've explored more of Mars than our own ocean. The numbers that change everything. Over 95% of the ocean remains unexplored. Thousands of sounds are recorded every year. Most are never analyzed deeply. Many are archived and forgotten. Some are ice. Some are animals. Some are tectonic forces tearing the planet apart. And some remain silent mysteries. The ocean as a living system. The ocean is not empty. It is pressurized, layered, alive with motion. Sound travels farther here than anywhere else on Earth. When something moves in the deep, the ocean remembers. Why these sounds matter? These recordings aren't just spooky. They tell us how the planet breathes, how ice shifts, how life communicates, how fragile ecosystems are. They remind us that unknown does not mean imaginary. The human instinct to fear the deep. For thousands of years, humans feared the ocean. We invented monsters to explain its power. But today, the truth is far more unsettling. The ocean doesn't need monsters. It already holds forces capable of reshaping continents. A question for you. When you hear an unexplained sound, do you assume it's ice, technology, nature doing what it always has? Or do you wonder, what else is down there? Final reflection. The deepest parts of the ocean are silent until they aren't. And when they speak, we are still learning how to listen.
If this video made you rethink what's hiding beneath the waves, leave a comment below. Which sound disturbed you the most? Bloop, Julia, Upsweep, Bioduck, or the Arctic ping? Like the video if you enjoy deep-sea mysteries backed by real science. Subscribe to Creatures Below for more untold stories from the abyss. Until next time, stay safe on the surface.